After a hard-fought opener that ended in frustration, this team heads into enemy territory surrounded by doubt. The odds makers don't believe. The headlines aren't paying attention. But inside the locker room, there's a different energy, a feeling that something is brewing. With key players returning, bold words exchanged, and a massive chip on their shoulder, this might be the perfect storm for a statement game. But first, click the like button hard and if possible write like this: Go Browns! The Cleveland Browns are walking into M&T Bank Stadium this weekend with a chip on their shoulder and a locker room full of players who feel disrespected, and frankly, they have every reason to feel that way. Despite a gritty Week 1 performance where they held the Cincinnati Bengals to under 150 total yards, the Browns head into Week 2 as double-digit underdogs against the Baltimore Ravens. For a team that showed they can hang with top-tier talent, that spread has sparked serious motivation inside Berea. NFL insider Ashley Bastock summed it up clearly: that rarely happens in the NFL. Games are so close. Vegas typically makes them within a score. Like, weird things happen between these teams. And she's right, AFC North matchups have a history of blowing up predictions. But let's rewind a bit. The Browns opened their season with a 17-16 loss to the Bengals, and while it stings, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story. Harold Fannin Jr. looked like a guy who belonged on the field. Dylan Sampson injected bursts of electricity when he touched the ball. And Carson Schwesinger gave fans a new defensive name to get excited about. The defense, overall, was outstanding, but solid play on one side of the ball isn't enough. If this team wants to avoid starting 0-2, three major areas need to change, fast. Let's start with the run game, or better yet, the lack of one. Head coach Kevin Stefanski came into the season preaching a return to the wide zone run scheme that had once made this offense hum. But against Cincinnati, it was dead silent. Just 49 rushing yards, averaging 2 yards per carry. That's not just bad, it's backbreaking when your entire offensive identity depends on the run setting up the pass. Relying on Joe Flacco to sling the ball 45 times at this stage of his career is not a recipe for success. There's good news, though. Running back Quinton Judkins was a full participant in practice Thursday and could be the spark this offense desperately needs. Even if he's on a pitch count, having him back could force the Ravens to respect the run just enough to give Flacco some room to work. Speaking of Flacco, this game isn't just another start for the veteran quarterback, it's a homecoming with fire in the veins. He returns to Baltimore, the city where he built his legacy. But make no mistake, this isn't a nostalgia tour. Flacco has something to prove. He wants to show the Ravens they made a mistake moving on. He wants to show the Browns locker room he can still lead. And he wants to show the league that Joe Cool isn't done yet. But for him to do that, he's going to need help from the defense and the guys up front. That brings us to the second crucial area, winning the turnover battle. Last week, Cleveland gave it away twice, both avoidable, self-inflicted mistakes. They didn't force a single turnover in return. Against a team like Baltimore, those margins matter. If the defense can't create short fields and momentum swings, the offense is going to be forced into long, grinding drives. That's a tough ask against a defense like Baltimore's. This is where stars like Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward need to step up. Garrett needs to make Lamar Jackson uncomfortable. Ward, nursing shoulder and Achilles issues, needs to lock things down on the outside if he's out there. Cleveland's defense has shown it can stifle big offenses, now it needs to turn stops into takeaways. And finally, let's talk about finishing drives. You can't win in the NFL by kicking field goals. The Browns moved the ball against Cincinnati. They got into plus territory multiple times. But what did they get out of it? Missed field goals. Turnovers on downs. Andre Szmyt is still the kicker for now, but the leash is short. The best thing the Browns can do for him is keep him off the field. Get in the red zone, punch it in, and stop settling. Because in a game like this, where you're a double-digit dog on the road, every touchdown matters that much more. One storyline that has added some heat to this matchup came from an unexpected source, Brent Delpit. Asked about tackling Derrick Henry, Delpit responded it was not hard. That's bold. And yes, it reached Henry, who fired back with a confident "we'll see on Sunday." It's the kind of back and forth that AFC North football thrives on. It's personal. It's physical. And it's about to get real. Now, the Ravens aren't coming into this one at full strength either. Their injury report includes names like Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard, both of whom didn't practice this week. Star DT Namdi Matabike, who's been a Pro Bowler 2 years running, went from not practicing to limited. On the other side, the Browns' injury report was actually more optimistic than usual. Joel Bitonio and Quinton Judkins are both trending up. Judkins was listed as a full participant Thursday, which is a huge boost for a ground game that flatlined in Week 1. So, the question now is simple: will Cleveland turn that underdog energy into a statement performance? Or will the Ravens remind them why they're the favorites? What do you think, Browns fans? Are we about to see a fired-up Cleveland team shock the NFL in Week 2, or will history repeat itself in Baltimore? The Browns aren't just facing the Ravens this Sunday, they're facing the weight of public doubt, Vegas odds, and the kind of skepticism that's lingered over this franchise for far too long. But if there's one thing we've learned about AFC North battles, it's that they rarely go according to script. Baltimore might have the flashier offense, the more respected quarterback, and home field advantage. But Cleveland has motivation. They've got a defense that's already proven it can shut down elite weapons. And now, with the return of Quinton Judkins and some key veterans trending healthy, the pieces are there for a full team performance. This Ravens team is no joke. They put up explosive numbers in Week 1 and boast one of the league's most dangerous backfields with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. But the Browns have historically found ways to contain Henry. In fact, during his time in Tennessee, he only broke 80 yards once in 5 games against Cleveland. That said, his 138-yard, 2-touchdown performance in Baltimore's season finale last year is a glaring reminder of what he can do if left unchecked. And now, with Henry hearing the not-hard comment from Del Pitt echoing in his ears all week, you better believe he's coming into this one ready to run through a wall. For Cleveland, the key isn't stopping everything Baltimore throws at them, it's limiting the damage. Force Baltimore to take the long road. Get them into third-and-long situations. Make Lamar uncomfortable, not just with pressure, but with disguised coverages and zone looks that slow down his reads. If Jim Schwartz can dial up a game plan that neutralizes Henry's north-south runs and contains Lamar outside the pocket, the Browns' defense will give the offense a fighting chance. And that offense, as much as it struggled last week, has the potential to surprise. Joe Flacco knows this stadium. He knows this team. And while he's not the same player who won a Super Bowl in purple and black, he doesn't need to be. He just needs time in the pocket, help from the run game, and receivers who can make plays after the catch. If that happens, and if the Browns can finish drives instead of stalling in no man's land, this could turn into one of those unforgettable AFC North slugfests that comes down to the final possession. This isn't just another game. It's a test. A test of grit, belief, and whether this Browns team is ready to take the next step, even in a year that many have labeled as a rebuild. And for fans who watched the defense dominate Cincinnati, who saw young guys like Fannin, Sampson, and Schweissinger flash real potential, there's reason to believe that the gap between these teams isn't nearly as wide as the point spread suggests. We've got a team that feels disrespected. A quarterback with something to prove. A defense hungry to force turnovers. And a divisional rivalry that always delivers fireworks. So Browns fans, what's your take? Can this team channel all that energy and pull off the upset in Baltimore this Sunday? Leave your opinion in the comments. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more daily news. Go Browns!